We're happy to be here this afternoon in Rocky Mount. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, I think, here in Rocky Mount. As we get started, I'd like to ask everybody to rise, and we're going to say pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, my name is David Combs, Mayor of Rocky Mount. We are certainly glad that you all came today. When I was asked to be a part of this, I had seen some quote that said, if God wanted men to fly, he wouldn't have invented the railroad. So, I'm happy here today. I think the other thing that a lot of people don't understand is that our DOT here in North Carolina is very active in the rail business and has been for many, many years. And I think most people think of bridges and roads when they think of the DOT, but they're certainly very involved in the rail transportation here in Rocky Mount. One other story I had heard that I'd like to share with you, and this was about an engineer, and he was leaving New York going on a cross-country train trip, and it was a big train, big passenger train, and they had two engines up front, and as they left New York, they were out about 4 hours, and the engineer realized that one of the engines was not working, and he didn't think that was a big deal, so they'd go a little bit slower, but they could still make their trip. About 2 hours later, the other engine went out, and as the train slowly came to a stop, he thought, well, I need to let the passengers know what's going on and alert them. So he made an announcement, and he said, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is we've lost both of our engines. We're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's going to take a while for somebody to get to us and help us out. He said, but the good news is you weren't flying. So with that being said, I would like to thank our guests for being here, Secretary Conti, which I'm going to ask Gus Tulloss to come up in a minute and introduce him, and also our Federal Rail Administrator, Joe Szabo. We did have lunch today. They wanted to eat some barbecue, so we took them out to Gardner's today, and I will say they got their money's worth. They ate a lot. We had the buffet, but it was very good, and we enjoyed spending some time together. At this time, I want to ask Gus Tulloss. Most of you know Gus. He is our local DOT board member. He's done a great job for us here, as has his predecessors in Rocky Mount. We're appreciative for everything the DOT does here in Rocky Mount for us and partnering with us in Rocky Mount. And you know, Gus has been a part of the Rocky Mount community all his life, and he's got an insurance business here, but also very dedicated to his role at the DOT. So I'm going to ask Gus to come up and introduce Secretary Conti.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that nice introduction. And he's right, we did have a nice lunch at Gardner's, and I think Joe and the Secretary did get their money's worth. I have the pleasure today of introducing our Secretary of the Department of Transportation for North Carolina, Dr. Gene Conti. Secretary Conti was appointed by Governor Beverly Perdue when she took office about 3 years ago. He is a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and obviously a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Secretary and his wife, Betsy Conti, have 4 children. He received his master's and his PhD degree from Duke University. A little bit about his work experience. He served in Washington, D.C. as Chief of Staff of Congressman Price, David Price. He served as Secretary of Labor in the state of Maryland. He also served previously at the North Carolina Department of Transportation as Deputy Secretary and Chief Operating Officer. But I think the thing I want to tell you more about the Secretary is some of his accomplishments since he's been there. He and General Trogdon set up what they call a priority system for ranking projects. So when a project now comes before the group, there have been a lot of stakeholders that have had a big part in it before it gets there. And when it's now, you got a 5, 10, 20-year plans, but if it gets in that 5-year plan, you're about 95% sure, Peter, that it's going to get accomplished or going to be funded, and it's going to get done. And that's a big change from what went on in the past. But the last thing I want to tell you about him that's been the most impressive to me, besides the experience he's had and knows what he's doing, is the transparency. This year, the last 3 years, I bet he's met with every newspaper in the state of North Carolina, probably met with every community around, and he's certainly met many, many times with employee groups. He's always available, never ducks a question, and always pretty candid about what he says. So I think North Carolina's been mighty, mighty fortunate to have somebody of his stature representing us as secretary. So at this time, I'd like to call Dr. Gene Conti forward.
Thank you, Gus, and what a great opportunity it is to be here, to be with you in Rocky Mount, and to enjoy the great hospitality we always enjoy here. And certainly we've heard a little bit about the food. I think we're all ready for a little nap, but we'll try to get through this. Also pleased to be here with our friends from CSX. John Dillard, I know, is here to bring something good and greatly needed to this region. Today, we're able to begin to draw down $26.5 million from the Stimulus Act that was passed 3 years ago. That provides about $21 million just for this region here to create 3 universal crossovers on tracks in Rocky Mount, Enfield, and Weldon. And these universal crossovers aren't huge projects, $21 million spread among the 3 of them, but they are small pieces of track work that allow for the big movement of trains. These involve installing the crossovers so that freight and passenger trains can move from side to side of the track to make sure that they clear for other trains, so that faster trains can move better and more safely around the slower ones. It also allows us to increase, and CSX to increase, the number of trains at more locations, so that makes our freight system more efficient, certainly makes our passenger system more efficient. It reduces delays and congestion along the line, and really provides for this corridor to become a high volume corridor for freight and passengers. So all of that is good for this region. It's good for the state of North Carolina. It's good for our trains that go up and down the East Coast and into Virginia and south from here. We want to thank our partner, FRA, and Joe Szabo in particular, for awarding this money, and to have the faith that we would work out the partnership agreement with CSX, and in this case with the state of Virginia, so that we can move this forward and do this work and do it well and be good stewards of those dollars. So now the time to get to work, to get these projects underway. It puts us on a path of building our system, our freight and passenger rail system, linking it with our other surface transportation modes and with aviation, so that we can help create more jobs in North Carolina, to help revive and sustain our economy, and to help provide a better future for all North Carolinians. It's now my pleasure and honor to introduce our partner from the Federal Railroad Administration. Joe Szabo comes from a 5-generation rail family. His family's been in the business a long time. Brings a lot of personal experience and family history to the job. Served as vice president of the Illinois AFL-CIO, and also served as mayor of Riverdale, Illinois. He's been at it for 3.5 years as our partner and partners with communities and states all across the country. We are very, very happy to welcome him here to Rocky Mount today, and we look forward to hearing from him. Joe Szabo.
Great to be here. On behalf of President Obama and Secretary LaHood, they extend their best wishes. And let me start by commending the collaborative approach taken by North Carolina DOT, Amtrak, and CSX on bringing this project to fruition, to a point where we can start our work. Today, those efforts have made it possible for us to announce a 26.5 intercity rail grant, about 21 of that being used here, to strengthen the rail network between Rocky Mount and Petersburg, Virginia. With this funding, North Carolina DOT can install new tracks and ties, new crossovers, new line separations, and new signals that allow freight and passenger rail traffic to move more fluidly and improve reliability. And ultimately, this project strengthens rail service from New York City all the way down to Florida. To Secretary Conti and North Carolina DOT, to Mayor Combs, to Amtrak and CSX, I thank all of you for acting together in unison to address the region's transportation needs. It ensures that one of America's fastest growing regions will have a safe, efficient transportation system that can sustain economic gains for years to come. And we have great partners in North Carolina with the North Carolina DOT, and that proof is in the progress that is being made in this state. Since 2009, my agency has invested close to $600 million in North Carolina's rail network, with additional contributions coming from the state, from North Carolina Railroad Company, and from Norfolk Southern and CSX. And so now, Piedmont's service, as we can see here in Rocky Mount, has more trains to support additional service. Station renovations have been completed in High Point, Burlington, and Cary Depot, with a fourth project in Kannapolis coming soon. And North Carolina has moved forward with the corridor improvement program for the Raleigh-Charlotte corridor that will improve on-time performance, increase daily round trips, and speed up the region's freight service. Now, this grant's also going to provide Rocky Mount with a faster connection to an emerging high-performing intercity passenger rail network connecting Raleigh to our nation's capital. By the end of 2013, North Carolina and Virginia will have completed the required engineering to better pursue this vision. So together, you're building a foundation that will allow your businesses to flourish, a foundation that will improve business travel, provide freight shippers more options, and bolster North Carolina's economy. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your outstanding leadership. And Gene, let's sign the grant.